Morning. It is still Friday. It is still October the 14th in the 2022 version of Such. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. This little thing down here is Bugsy Malone. And this is episode 8 of Tottenham Walks. Guys, I hope you're happy, healthy, and doing the things that you love with those you love doing them with. And tomorrow, guys, we are all doing something that we absolutely love. And that is to watch Tottenham Hotspur take on Everton to try to defend our 100% unbeaten record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's going to be a really interesting game. We're going to talk about it very briefly, as quickly as I can. Try and keep this stuff under 11 minutes if possible. Team news. Look, Tottenham have essentially a clean bill of health for the first time this season. There are no injuries to mention. The only person that can't play tomorrow is the always divisive, somewhat loved, no, I'm not going to say somewhat loved, I'm going to say the lovable yet possibly technically incapable Emerson Royale, who's serving the second match of a 3-game suspension ever since the Arsenal red card it's still, in my opinion, massively under par as a refereeing decision and overly harsh. So we've got everyone to choose from apart from him. And Everton, I'm not sure about their injuries, but I can tell you that they're one danger man that Tottenham were linked with in the summer. Anthony Gordon. Chelsea were also linked with him. He is suspended. He is out of the game, which is good news. He's a danger player, very technically gifted, good at running, driving, and he gets back and defends, and full of passion and energy as well. So it's good news that he's not around. I'm expecting Tottenham to dominate this game, whether we play any formation or any particular team. The only conversation really is about how and who do we go with. So I'm going to start with the easy bit, the back three for me. Unless there's any desire on Conte's part to give a rest to Christian Romero, which would include Davinson Sanchez coming back in, then I foresee it being same old Romero, Dyer and Longley. Even though, as I mentioned on the previous video that I just uploaded earlier, there is news out of the club, or at least the club insiders, that Tottenham have already made their mind up on Longley's future, and that they won't be seeking to extend any kind of loan or purchase deal at the end of the summer, which I find very bizarre because it's so early, and I think the player's playing very well and getting better with every game as he grows into his new life and new surroundings in London. So I don't know, I think they're shooting their load a little bit too soon on that decision, if there's truth to it. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. You can check that video if you want right here. With regard the rest of the team, look, on the left hand side, Sessegnon or Perisic, for me, I would imagine that Conte may give the role back to Perisic. That's not what I want to see. Once again, we saw on Wednesday and against Brighton that Heung-min Son plays better with Sessegnon behind him on the left. I've got all of the stats and the screenshots of average positions to make my case if you're interested in that stuff, but you just see for yourself, it's a consequence of the other team setting up in a way that suffocates the life out of the left-hand side. It's a consequence of Perisic being more likely to run with the ball down the left channel than Sessegnon is. And it's a consequence of just the lack of space that's available for those players to do what they do best. That, in my opinion, when Perisic is playing, Sonny doesn't play as well. When Sessegnon is playing, Sonny does. He plays better. He has more freedom and more, I guess, trust in the relationship. So it's kind of the opposite of what happened when Matt Doherty was afforded the chance at first crack to forge a relationship with Dejan Kulusevski. Tottenham's football under Conte was at its best most exciting and most watchable in the 3 months between February the 1st when Decky signed and the middle of April, I think it was, when Doherty got his knee injury against Aston Villa. In that period we were scoring goals for fun, 4 or 5 goals a game, and that was in no small part down to the immediate chemistry and the relationship that was fostered between those two. They immediately got it, and it wasn't just those two, it was also actually Pierre-Emile Højbjerg that was making the third man and accessing these triangles. If you can put your mind back to those games, it was super easy to play these triangles all the way down the pitch that naturally just led to opportunities galore. And I think that is an example of how quickly relationships can foster or otherwise. And I don't think the same thing can be said for Sonny and for Perisic yet. I'm not saying it won't happen, but for me, Perisic hasn't been good enough going forward or defensively to justify playing him if it means that Sonny, who is so pivotal to our successes, has a more cramped style that doesn't suit him. For me, Sessegnon's been good enough. He was, according to Sky Sports, man of the match against Brighton. He played very well against Frankfurt, and the gap between the two isn't significant in my opinion. And if it means that Sonny can play better and do the sorts of things that he's been looking to do recently, and his confidence is growing with Sessegnon behind him than Perisic, then it's an easy option for me. Moving across the pitch into the midfield too, you have the obvious choices of Højbjerg and Bentancur. No reason or rationale to drop them in any way. The two of them have been playing unbelievable football for Tottenham this season. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg especially, just insane, the new levels that he's finding every single week. And Bentancur may be slightly understated in comparison to Højbjerg, but that's not to say he hasn't been playing fantastic football as well. The pair of them have been a dynamic duo in the 3-4-3, and one that we should very much celebrate as a fan base. We do of course now though have the options of Bissouma and Oliver Skipp, both of them back from their various reasons for being on the sidelines, and they are options that we can go to. Now, on the one hand, maybe against Everton it's a good opportunity to give one of them a chance, maybe Bissouma for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg or for Bentancur, just to see if there can be other relationships that can grow. It is of course a risk, because the last time that Bissouma played in a 3-4-3 it was against West Ham, and he looked all at sea and positionally naive. And to be honest guys, I'd even say he looked positionally naive the other day when he came on against Frankfurt. His start to life at Tottenham hasn't been easy. He doesn't look anything like the player that he was at Brighton. I know things will improve, and over time he will become hopefully a fantastic version of the player that we all want him to be. But right now, I've got to be honest, when he's on the pitch, I don't feel as comfortable as I do when the other players are, when the other two players are on the pitch as well. So it's an interesting one. I'm okay with Conte making a change. Oliver Skipp looked a bit rusty. Ollie Skipp looked a bit rusty against when he came on for his 20 minutes against Brighton. So I'm not entirely sure if he's ready for a full start yet, but maybe one or two. Let's presume that maybe Bissouma gets a crack in place of Bentancur, then I'll be okay with that. On the right hand side, as I said already, it's great to see that Decky might be back in time to play some minutes tomorrow, and to have Doherty and Decky back will be something to really look out for and keep an eye on, and hopefully we'll see the two of them get straight back into the old swing of things and be able to create magic down the right hand side like they did in the second half of last season. I do think that Doherty will start. I do think that Jed Spence will be continue to be left on the sidelines, and that's okay. That is okay. At the end of the day, we can all have opinions on what we'd like to see in what formations and shape, but Conte has to make a decision. Someone has to play, someone has to be left out. And I think Matt Doherty, and the prospect of seeing Matt Doherty alongside Decky again for me is something that's enticing enough for me to be more than okay with Jed Spence remaining on the sidelines. And then up front, I think the two of them is obviously going to be Sonny and Kane. No doubt about that one. The only other decision will be whether Decky gets to start the game if he's fully fit, or whether Richarlison starts and Decky gets 20 minutes, or whether Decky starts and Richarlison gets half an hour. You know, Richarlison hasn't played in his best position. He is a number 9 for Brazil, and it's going to take, I think, Harry Kane to have to miss some minutes for us to see that opportunity, to see him in his best position. So I think we should all hold fire on our opinions regarding Richarlison playing on the right or left, because we haven't had a chance to see him yet where, you know, he's going to be at his best. I don't think Richarlison's played particularly badly the last couple of days, the last couple of games. I think he's been more than okay, but he's still just not firing in the way that we all hoped he would. So I'm excited to see Decky come back into the team. I'd love it if Conte thought that Decky was fresh and fit enough to be able to start the game, although I think he'd probably like to err on the side of caution and start with Richarlison and then give Decky 20 minutes towards the end of the game. So for me, the starting formation is 3-4-3, Hugo Lloris in goal, Romero, Dyer, Longley, Matt Doherty right wing back, left wing back of Sessegnon, I hope, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Perisic. And then I'm going to go for Bissouma and Højbjerg in the midfield, and then Richarlison, Kane and Sonny as the starting 11, and expect to see 3 or 4 subs throughout the game, depending on how everyone transitions, how everyone fits and how everyone gels. I think Tottenham can smash Everton with Anthony Gordon out. I think Tottenham could easily put 3 or 4 past them. If we get an early goal in the first 20 minutes and we don't make any silly mistakes like we did in the first 15 minutes against Frankfurt, then Everton will be there for the taking, and Tottenham can and should be looking to have a comfortable game. I love you guys. Let me know your thoughts on my team and whether you agree or disagree. I will speak to you later. See you on the watch along and the pre-match pump up tomorrow on We Are Tottenham TV and then Irish Hotspur. Like, share and subscribe to the comment below, guys. As always, bye bye.